Welcome to our channel. Stop for a moment and listen, because the reason you are here may become clear before this message ends. What if the door that broke your heart was never meant to be your destination? And what if the silence you thought meant abandonment was actually protecting a future you could not yet see? Maybe you have cried when nobody knew. Maybe you have prayed until your words disappeared, asking God why everything had to become so difficult. Maybe something you trusted suddenly ended, a relationship disappeared, a dream collapsed, a job slipped away, or a plan you believed was certain became impossible. You may have looked at your life and wondered, God, where are you? But today, I want you to consider another possibility. What if God was not absent? What if He was working quietly while you were watching everything fall apart? Sometimes the hardest season is not proof that your story is ending. Sometimes it is the place where your story changes direction. And the first turning point is this: stop believing that every loss is a punishment. Some losses are protection. You may not understand that while the wound is fresh, but time can reveal what pain hides. Think about the people you once begged to stay. Perhaps you believed losing them would destroy you, yet their departure eventually gave you peace. Think about the opportunity you wanted so badly. You thought it was your answer, but when it disappeared, another path slowly opened. You only saw a closed door. God may have seen what was waiting behind it. The second turning point comes when you stop demanding an explanation for every painful moment. There are questions that may not receive immediate answers. Faith does not mean pretending that pain does not hurt. It means choosing trust even while you are hurting. You can cry and still believe. You can feel confused and still pray. You can admit that you are tired without deciding that God has forgotten you. Your tears do not cancel your faith. Sometimes they become part of it. The third turning point happens when you realize that your timeline is not the same as God's timing. You may feel late because someone else received what you wanted first. You watch others move forward while your own life seems quiet. But comparison can make a waiting season feel like failure. Your journey is not required to look like theirs. A seed does not become a tree because another seed grew faster. It grows according to its own season. You may be underground right now, unseen and unnoticed, but unseen does not mean inactive. Roots can grow in darkness before anyone sees the branches. The fourth turning point is learning to surrender without giving up. Surrender does not mean throwing away your dreams. It means releasing your demand that everything must happen exactly as you planned. You can work hard while leaving the final result in God's hands. You can prepare while accepting that the timing may be different. You can pray for a door to open while trusting Him if another door remains closed. This kind of surrender brings a peace that control never can. The fifth turning point arrives when you look at your pain differently. Instead of asking only, "Why did this happen to me?" begin asking, "What can this season teach me?" Maybe it is teaching patience. Maybe it is teaching you to recognize unhealthy relationships. Maybe it is teaching you to value your time, protect your peace, or become stronger than the version of yourself that entered this season. Pain does not automatically make a person better, but what you choose to do with pain can shape you deeply. You can allow it to make you bitter, or you can allow it to make you wiser. And if you are still standing after everything you have faced, there is something inside you that has not surrendered. You may feel weak, but you are still here. You may feel lost, but you are still searching. You may feel tired, but you are still listening. That matters. The sixth turning point is realizing that survival itself can be evidence of strength. You survived days you once believed you could not survive. You walked through nights that felt endless. You carried burdens nobody else could see. And now you have reached another morning. Do not underestimate that. Your story is still being written. The chapter that hurt you does not have permission to define the ending. Maybe this season has removed your certainty, but it can also build your character. Maybe it has taken away your comfort, but it may deepen your faith. Stay with me, because the next turning point may change how you understand everything you lost. The seventh turning point comes when you understand that an unanswered prayer is not always an ignored prayer. Sometimes the answer is not yet visible because the work happening around you is preparing you for what you asked to receive. You may have asked for success, but perhaps you first needed wisdom. You may have asked for love, but perhaps you first needed healing. You may have asked for a new beginning, but perhaps you first needed the courage to leave the old one. We often ask God to change our circumstances while He is patiently changing us. That can feel slow, but deep transformation rarely happens overnight. A strong foundation takes time because it must carry whatever is built upon it. The eighth turning point arrives when you stop measuring God's presence by your circumstances. A peaceful day does not automatically mean God is near, and a painful day does not mean He has left. Faith becomes deeper when you can say, I still trust you, even when nothing looks different. Anyone can feel hopeful when everything is working. Real trust is tested when the road becomes uncertain. If your life feels quiet today, do not assume that heaven is quiet too. Some of the most important work happens where your eyes cannot reach. Think about a farmer placing a seed into the ground. For a long time, the farmer sees nothing. The soil looks empty, but beneath it, the seed is changing. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. Then, one day, a small green shoot appears. Your waiting season can be like that. You may see nothing because the growth is happening underneath. The ninth turning point is realizing that preparation can feel like delay. You wanted the blessing immediately, but perhaps you are not ready to carry it. Imagine receiving something valuable before you know how to protect it. What should have helped you could become a burden. Sometimes timing is mercy. A delayed opportunity may give you time to develop the character, patience, knowledge, and discipline needed to handle it well. So instead of asking only, when will it happen? Ask, who am I becoming while I wait? That question changes everything. The 10th turning point comes when you stop chasing what has already left. There is a special kind of exhaustion that comes from trying to revive something God may be asking you to release. You keep checking the same door. You keep hoping the same person will change. You keep replaying the same memory, imagining a different ending. But peace sometimes begins when you accept that an ending is an ending. Let go without hatred. Forgive without returning to what harmed you. Remember without living in the past. Your hands cannot receive something new while they are tightly holding everything old. Release does not mean the past meant nothing. It means the past no longer controls your future. The 11th turning point is learning to trust the next step instead of demanding the whole map. You may want to know where you will be 5 years from now, who will stay, what will happen, and exactly how your dream will unfold. But life rarely gives us that kind of certainty. Often, you receive enough light for the step directly in front of you. Take that step, then another. You do not need to see the entire staircase before climbing it. You need enough courage to place your foot on the next one. This is where faith becomes practical. Pray, prepare, work, and move forward, even when the complete picture remains hidden. The 12th turning point arrives when you discover that your identity is larger than what happened to you. You are not only the person who was rejected, you are not only the person who was betrayed. You are not only the person whose dream failed. Those things are experiences, not your entire identity. You can become wiser without becoming cold. You can become careful without becoming afraid. You can become stronger without losing your kindness. What happened may have changed you, but it does not have to control who you become. Your story can grow beyond the place where it was wounded. And perhaps that is why you had to walk through this season. Not to remain there, but to learn how to leave it stronger. Tomorrow may not look different yet, but you can be different inside it. Keep praying, keep working, keep healing, and keep choosing hope. There is still more ahead, and the next part of your story may begin with one decision you make today. To believe that your life is not finished simply because this season is difficult. You are still becoming, learning, growing, and moving toward a future you cannot see yet, but can trust with faith. The 13th turning point comes when you stop waiting for your life to become perfect before you allow yourself to feel grateful. You may think, I will be happy when the problem is gone, when the relationship arrives, when the money comes, when the dream finally happens. But if your peace is always waiting for a future condition, today will always feel incomplete. Gratitude does not mean pretending that everything is wonderful. It means noticing that even inside a difficult season, something good still exists. You are breathing. You can learn. You can begin again. Someone may still care about you. A new morning may still arrive. These things may look small, but small lights matter when the road is dark. Gratitude changes what your eyes notice. Instead of seeing only what disappeared, you begin seeing what remains. Instead of counting only closed doors, you begin noticing the strength you gained while walking toward them. The 14th turning point comes when you stop asking God to make you fearless and start asking Him to make you courageous. Fear may not disappear before you move. Sometimes courage means moving while your hands are shaking. You may still worry about the future, but you can take the next step anyway. You may still remember the pain, but you can choose not to live inside it. You may still have questions, but you can continue walking without having every answer. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that fear will not become your master. Think about how many opportunities fear has already delayed. How many conversations did you avoid? How many dreams did you postpone? How many times did you tell yourself, maybe someday, because starting felt uncomfortable? You do not need to become fearless overnight. Start with one brave decision, make the call, learn the skill, apply for the opportunity, leave the unhealthy situation. Forgive yourself, ask for help, begin again. One courageous action can change the direction of an entire life. And then comes the 15th turning point, perhaps the most important one. You decide that you will not waste the pain you survived. If you have suffered, let that suffering teach you something. Let it make you more compassionate toward people who are hurting. Let it teach you to value peace. Let it make you careful about who receives your trust. Let it remind you that time is precious. Let it push you toward a life that actually matters. Your pain does not have to become your prison. It can become part of the wisdom you carry into your future. Imagine meeting your future self years from now. Imagine that person looking back at the season you are living today. What would you want them to say? Perhaps they would say, "Thank you for not quitting. Thank you for trusting when you could not see. Thank you for choosing healing instead of revenge. Thank you for taking that first step when you were afraid." Your future self may be grateful for the courage you show today. So do not measure your life only by what you have achieved. Measure it by what you have learned, what you have overcome, and who you are becoming. There is a reason some seasons feel slower than others. They are teaching you things that speed could never teach. Patience, discernment, humility, strength, compassion, faith. When everything is easy, you may never discover how strong you can become. But when life removes your comfort, you meet parts of yourself you did not know existed. You discover that you can survive disappointment. You can rebuild after loss. You can smile again after crying. You can trust again after betrayal. You can dream again after failure. That is not weakness. That is transformation. Maybe you are currently standing in the middle of a story that makes no sense. Maybe you cannot see the reason yet. Do not force yourself to understand everything today. Some answers arrive only after you have traveled far enough to look backward. A puzzle looks confusing when you are holding only one piece. Later, when more pieces appear, the picture becomes clearer. Your life can be like that. You may only have one piece right now. Do not judge the entire picture from one painful piece. Keep going. Keep praying. Keep learning. Keep doing what is right in front of you. And if you believe in God, keep bringing your questions to Him. You do not need perfect words. You can speak honestly. Tell Him when you are angry. Tell Him when you are afraid. Tell Him when you are grateful. Tell Him when you do not understand. A relationship with God does not require you to hide your humanity. Bring your real heart. Then listen in the quiet. Sometimes the answer may come through a changed perspective, a new opportunity, a wise person, a peaceful decision, or simply the strength to take another step. Not every answer arrives as a dramatic sign. Some answers arrive as inner peace. Some arrive as clarity. Some arrive as the ability to release what you once could not release. And sometimes the answer is simply the strength to continue. So, if today feels heavy, do not make a permanent decision based on a temporary season. Your story has not reached its final page. The door may have closed, but another road can exist beyond it. The relationship may have ended, but love can still exist in your future. The dream may have changed, but purpose can still remain. The plan may look different, but different does not automatically mean worse. Sometimes the life you receive is not the life you originally imagined, yet it can become a life filled with deeper meaning. Take one breath, take one step, then another. You do not need to carry tomorrow today. Let today be enough. Your responsibility is not to control the entire journey. Your responsibility is to walk faithfully through the part of the road you can see. And when darkness comes, remember that darkness does not mean the road has disappeared. It only means you need to move carefully until the light returns. You have already survived so much. Do not let this final stretch convince you that you cannot continue. There is still strength in you. There is still hope in you. There is still a future waiting beyond what you can currently see. And perhaps the greatest miracle will not be that everything returns to the way it was. Perhaps the miracle will be that you become someone who no longer needs the old life to be whole. You become peaceful without that person, confident without that approval, hopeful without knowing the exact outcome, strong without becoming hard, faithful without needing constant proof. That is freedom, that is growth, that is the beginning of a new life. Now comes the moment when you decide what your next season will look like. You have learned that pain can change you, waiting can strengthen you, silence can teach you, and closed doors can redirect you. But knowledge means little if you never use it. Your life changes when you turn what touched your heart into action. So, make one quiet decision. I will not return to the person I was before the storm. I will carry the lesson, but I will leave the chains behind. You do not need to become a completely different person tomorrow. You only need to make a different choice today. Choose peace when anger asks for revenge. Choose discipline when comfort asks you to quit. Choose prayer when fear says everything is hopeless. Choose patience when you want an instant answer. Choose courage when your past tells you to hide. There may still be mornings when you wake up and feel the old pain. Do not be ashamed. Healing is rarely a straight road. Some days you will feel strong, and other days you may feel tired again. That does not mean you have gone backward. It means you are human. Give yourself permission to heal slowly. Real strength is being honest about pain and still choosing to move forward. There will also be people who do not understand your new direction. Some may remember the old version of you and expect you to remain there. But you are allowed to grow beyond the expectations of people who only knew your past. You are allowed to change your habits, boundaries, priorities, and dreams. Growth sometimes requires distance from what once felt familiar. Do not confuse familiarity with purpose. A familiar road can still lead nowhere. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is leave the road you have walked for years and begin a new one. Some journeys begin alone because they prepare you to discover who you are without an audience. In that quiet place, you may discover talents you ignored, dreams you buried, and strength you never knew you had. If your faith is important to you, remember that trusting God does not mean doing nothing. Faith can move your feet. Pray, then act. Ask for direction, then take the step you can see. Ask for strength, then use the strength you have. Take care of your mind and body. Choose your friends carefully. And never let one painful chapter convince you that the entire story is painful. There are still mornings you have not seen, conversations you have not had, people you have not met, and opportunities that have not arrived. That is why hope matters. Hope is not a promise that everything will happen exactly as you imagine. Hope is choosing to believe that your life can still hold meaning, beauty, growth, and purpose. So when tomorrow comes, get up. Even if you feel uncertain, get up, pray, work, learn, help someone, take care of yourself. Do one useful thing before the world fills your mind with noise. Let your actions become evidence that you are moving forward. One day, You will look back at this season from a place you cannot see today, but you will also remember that you continued. You will understand that the person who survived that season was not weak. That person was becoming ready. Perhaps the greatest reward will not be getting everything you once begged for. It will be becoming peaceful enough to recognize what truly belongs in your life. So keep your heart open, but keep your wisdom awake. Dream boldly, but remain patient. Trust God, but also use the mind, strength, and opportunities you have been given. If today is difficult, take today slowly. If tomorrow is uncertain, meet it when it arrives. You do not need to solve your whole life tonight. You only need to refuse to give up on yourself. The storm may have changed you, but it does not own you. The loss may have marked you, but it does not define you. The silence may have confused you, but it does not mean you were forgotten. You are still becoming, you are still learning, you are still here. And that means there is still something ahead worth walking toward. So breathe deeply, lift your head, and take the next step. Not because you know exactly what will happen, but because you now know something more important. You can face what comes. Your story is still being written, and this time, you will walk into the future with wisdom, courage, gratitude, and faith. Keep walking with patience. Keep your heart open to good things, and keep believing that a painful season can become the beginning of a beautiful, purpose-filled life when you refuse to let pain win.